Welcome to MD Bytes. This video is going to show you how to work with match and index functions. So these are the next set of lookup functions which comes up with reference of rows and columns, and it finds the value based on the lookup values. So here, as it mentioned, match function will provide us the position value for what the value we are looking for, either it is a row or column. So when it comes into the syntax, the match function got three components starting with lookup value, lookup array, and match type. So the lookup value is the value for what we are looking for, and in the lookup array, either it is a row or column, a set of range in where we are going to search for our lookup value. So then it has the third component, match type, whether it is exact match or approximate match. So the next set we are going to work on index function. Here it returns the cell value where we are searching for. So the value, we will be assigning the row number and column number on a set of array. So it finds out the cell value and returns the exact value present in the cell and gives us the value for the reference. So these are the two lookup functions which we are going to work on in this sheet, and we have set of exercises where we are going to work separate index and match functions, and also we are going to see the combination of index and match functions. So this is our data where we are going to work for and search for the values of the cloths and based on the size categories. So we have these data set of price values, and we are going to bring out the price values using index and match functions. So in here we are going to work on two set of exercises. Here we are going to work separate match function and index functions, whereas the second exercise will be an interactive exercise. We are going to set up a combination of match and index functions in here. So first we are going to work on separate match functions to get the rows number and column numbers. So first we start up with first match function. I just give equals. So we are going to start with m so that we will get the list of functions. So here we select the match function, and here we go with the components. So the first component is lookup value and lookup array, and second and third is match type. So here for lookup value, I just key in directly the value gloves. So glove is the value for what we are going to look for, and I'm going to look in the array in column B. So here I have the row headers of my data set. So these are the cloth types. So I select all those row headers which is in column B, which is B3 to B7, and I'm setting up the exact match where the gloves should be exactly matched with the data. So now I just close and enter. Yeah, it gives 1 because the position is 1. So as I said, match function returns the position value. So gloves is in the first position of the array which we have referred. So now we go with the second. So equals again m. So again select the match function. Now for lookup value, this time we go with the categories of the sizes. So here the lookup value I'm going to key in as small, and this must be my lookup value, and I'm going to search this value in the column headers. So where it is presented in row number 2, so this is my lookup array this time, and the third argument I'm going to set it up as exact match again. So this will search for the word small in this lookup array and finds out the position. It is second position. So you can see x small and small is in the second position. So it brings out the row number and column number. So this is how we use match function separately without any values referred in the lookup value. So by using these row number and column number in index function, we are going to bring the price values of gloves and small into here. So here we are going to start up with our index function based on the row number and column number we have in match function. So equals, so for index function just type in, so then you can see the list of functions, so where we can select index function, and now we go for the components. So the first component is array and row number and column number. So for array, we are going to select all the price values where we have from cell C3 to G7, and now we go for the second component, which is row number. So row number, which we have already obtained by using match function, so our position number 1 will be our row number, which is gloves. So B10 will be our row number, and for the third component we just give a comma. So for column number, again we go with the obtained value by using match function, which we have in cell C10. So this will be our column number. So column number is 2. So we will be searching for the value which is in B10 and C10. So that value, the value which is in the cell row number 1 and column number 2, will be brought into here. So that's the answer. So to convert this number format into a currency format, so select the dollar symbol in here, and now it converts into currency value. So this is how we apply match function separately and find out the row number and column number, and in here in index value we just use the values obtained in match functions. So this is the first exercise to see how it can be applied separately. So now we move on to the second set of exercise, where we are going to make it somewhat interactive by making the list into here for cloth type and size, and we are going to bring the price values in here. So as we did for index and match, we are going to combine in here. So for cloth type and size type, we are going to make a list and we are going to do the data validation. So for that, you just select the cell cloth type and go to data tab and find out the data tools in here and select the data validation icon and make a click on here. So now we get the window where we can set up the data validation. So for here, to set up the list, so we go with the allow tab where we set up the list, select the option for list in here, and for source we get into the row headers. So row headers in here we have in B3 to B7. So these are the row headers where we have the cloth types, and we just press OK. So now all those cloth types have been added into the list in here. So now we are going to make for the size as well. So for size, select the cell again in here, and now we move on to data tab and find the data tools in here and click on the data validation icon, and we set up the list in here. So select the option for list, and for the source in here we're going to select all the row headers, so where we have the categories of sizes. So here from C2 to G2, so these are the values will be added into the size list. So now we have the cloth type and the size categories. So now we are going to use these two as our lookup value and bring the price value in here. So for that we are going to use the combination of index function and match function together. So both index function and match function will be combined and nested, and it will be applied. So we start with equals, and we start with index function, so in. So I just go with the first component array. So here array is again the values of the prices. So price values will be the array value. So now we just give a comma. So we go for the second component, which is row number. So to give the row number, we go with a match function in here. So we just type match and we go with the match function, and here we set up the lookup value first. So lookup value here, as we have added the list of cloth type here in I5, cell number I5, we just select that value as the lookup value, and we go for the second component, which is lookup array. So lookup array is simple. Again, we just select the values of the row headers, which we did earlier in the previous exercise, and we go with exact match 0. So now we have set it up the formula for row number. So now we move on to column number. So again for column number we move on to another match function. We just start with match, And here for lookup function, for lookup value, we just give the value which is in J5, where we have the size categories added in the list. So here J5 will be our lookup value. So for the second component lookup array, we move on to cell C2 to G2, where we have the lookup array for categories of sizes. And the third component will be our exact match, where we're going to match exactly with the value of J5 with the lookup array. So now we have set it up the column number match function, and we now close the index function as well. So here for index function, the first component has been set up with all the price values in the data, and for column number and row number, we have set up the match functions based on the cloth type and size which is presented in I5 and J5. So now the values will be retrieved from the data set based on the column number and row number which is mentioned in here. So you can see gloves and small has been selected as the cloth type and cloth size, where 4.25 will be the value which is brought by using the index function. So now we change to skirt or jeans. So here for the size for small jeans, it is $25. It is brought into you here. So now we go with extra large for jeans, where the value is $28. It has been brought in here. So we can play around by changing the values in the list, and based on that the index function will bring the values in here. So this is how we use index and match functions.